Hey everybody, how are you? My name is Dr. Heather Carden, coming to you live from my office here at Carden Center for Wellness in Overland Park, Kansas. If you are brand new to my page, I want to welcome you and say put your notifications on, stay tuned. We talk about a variety of information. It's called Ask Dr. Heather because I want to help answer the questions that you have that may be confusing about everything that's going out there in social media. 20 plus years ago when we opened up our practice, there was no Google search, there was no, actually not even very limited Wi-Fi, but we didn't have the searches we had now to have a lot of information at our fingertips. So we know there can be a lot of confusion going on out there. So today we're going to really focus on hacking your health and optimizing your health. I had an amazing weekend at Live It to Learn It last weekend, which is really about the physicians of the future. How do we help people optimize their health? How do we stop this chaos, this global epidemic of things that are happening to people, prematurely having cancer, having blood pressure issues, even people having fertility issues? There's just a whole plethora of stuff that has happened over the last really 2 to 3 decades. And think about what it started with. It really started when we started manufacturing foods. We started having a lot more drive-thrus, and really we flipped that pyramid upside down and established that standard American diet, which we know is 65+% carbohydrates. Some say 45, some say 65, but the real truth is there's no essential carbohydrates. I know many of you have heard me talk about that before, but I want to review some amazing tips that we actually talked about last week, and I actually took a whole book of notes, so I'm going to just touch on a couple things here that I think might bring just a little bit of value, a little bit of clarity on what maybe you may be confused about. Again, here in my office today, I don't have a stand, so we're going to hope this doesn't fall over. I'm on a Kleenex box, but let's just take a huge, giant step back. Number one, we must have oxygen. Without oxygen, if we stop breathing, we don't survive more than a few minutes. We've got to have water. It's essential for life, which means our body must have it. We're composed of about 70% water, which means that we only can go 2 or 3 days without water before our body starts to fail. And then we have food. What is food meant to do? Food is not meant to be therapy. Food is not meant to make us happy or sad. Food is actually meant to us to break it down, and our body's its own pharmacy. So it's meant to give us, number one, energy, right? Our body breaks down carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and we either make glucose, which is a sugar energy, or we make ketones, which is a fat energy. And then our body also takes all those healthy fats like cholesterol, and we break them down into anti-inflammatory hormones, all of our sex hormones or anti-aging hormones. All that comes from the food that we eat. So once we eat our food, we have about 30 different players involved in sifting and sorting and making all those things that our body needs to operate on a day-to-day basis. So when we opened up the weekend last weekend, one of the best things I heard is that our oldest, most fasting, powerful modality means tool in a doctor's office, known to man, is actually fasting. People have been doing this for centuries. We read about it on the cave walls about people not eating to heal their body. I even posted a post that Dr. Fung shared about Hippocrates says, feeding the sick is actually going to make them sicker. So making that very simple. When we're eating, we're either feeding a disease or fighting a disease. Whether we talk about 1.1 billion broken brains, or we talk about 65 million people suffering from headaches, or we talk about the global epidemic of diabetes or heart disease, which is the number one killer. When we're eating, we're either feeding a disease or fighting a disease. So we talked a lot about longevity. So I'm just going to whip up a couple books here. But today I'm really going to focus on the whole cycle of fasting, famine, and cycling. So we're going to use your car for an example, and I'm going to deep dive in here a little bit. If my house and everything in my life is pretty close together. We live in a small triangle. My house is 2 miles from my office. There's a grocery store in between my home and my office. The kids' school is another mile that way. My church is 2 miles north. But say I went to the grocery store. I stopped and filled up with gas. I drove over to my office a half a mile away. I stopped up and filled up with gas. Drove to my church 2 miles away. Stopped and filled up with gas. Then I drove home. I stopped and filled up with gas. That's essentially what we're doing when we're feeding 4 to 6 times a day. 1970s, we ate 3 meals a day. Now in 2005 plus, we're eating 5 to 9 meals a day. We're feeding all the constant time. What has happened? It's like when you stop and fill up gas, it's overflowing into our body, being repackaged in the form of fat. So fat is just packaged up food that our body had for reserves. And what should happen is you want actually to run down the reserves and then refill. But if we don't, we just keep spilling over and spilling over. That's how we get a lot of the disease of civilization. That's how plaquing happens in our arteries. That's how our blood sugar runs out and we start getting type 2 diabetes, which we see 20 years ago used to happen in people who are 70. Now it's happening in really teenagers and young adults. So we talk about things that we didn't talk about in 1980s, which is eating healthy fats, knowing that there's no essential carbohydrates. And then we talk about fasting. Again, the oldest, most powerful modality known to man is fasting. Because when we're not eating, say 12 hours a day, or we're not eating 14 hours a day, what's our body doing? Well, if it's not processing food and sifting and sorting and figuring out if it's a dye or a toxin or this or that or protein, it's actually going out and fighting precancerous cells. It's making new white blood cells. It's actually helping restore our anti-inflammatory hormones, also giving oxygen and a lot of more focus to our brain or other places of our body that need help. So when we talk about intermittent fasting or time optimization eating, it's actually just eating in a smaller window. But I'm going to take it a little step further and talk a little bit about fasting, because we talked a whole bunch about that. So we talk about fasting. There's some amazing tips that happen. We know that we need white blood cells. So what happens after 3 days of fasting, and fasting is actually not a low carb diet. Fasting is really under 300 calories and about 15 or less grams of protein. So I am going to talk about the reboot because it fits that model, because the reboot, that actually the last day to buy it is today, that we do in our clinic once a month. We do the third Sunday of every month, the 18th through the 21st. We do what's called a reboot, which actually has essential nutrient packets in there. It has bone broth that's packaged up that has collagen and other nutrients. It has a tea to help your body sleep, because we know we need to reduce anxiety, but it has amazing herbs and other nutrients in there to help really optimize that time. So what happens is that really that hunger signaling, it's a primitive signal. You can actually sometimes ignore that. Oftentimes we can't, but think about that. If you've ever been at work and you're hungry, but you still have like another hour to lunch, that hunger generally goes away. You can drink some water, you cannot. So what happens is with hunger, because people are like, I'm just eating because I'm hungry. It's like an itch or a sugar bite. The more you itch it, the more you feed the hunger, the more you're hungry, because it doesn't have a chance to balance back down. So when you do some time restricted eating, which is eating in maybe a 6-hour window, or maybe eating every 48 hours or every 24 hours, you're allowing your body to rejuvenate, recycle, but you're also allowing a lot of other things to happen. Because what happens when insulin goes down, and insulin's job is to deposit fat. We use insulin every time we have a protein, every time we eat a carbohydrate, whether it's organic or processed food, we're still using insulin. When insulin goes down, our adrenals actually come up, which actually is a great thing because that's the engine for our body. Our growth hormone comes up, which is super essential for anti-aging and actually just growing children. And our cortisol, which is our body's natural fuel source, actually recycles and balances back out. So it's actually a good thing not to eat. And what is important is what you put in your mouth after you don't eat. So we'll talk about that in just a minute as well. But just think of this. Fat is really just stored food. In the moment when you're not feeding your body, like you slept all night, you got up, and maybe you got hungry like at 10 o'clock, and then you ate, your body has a couple choices. It could either tap into that stored fat, unpackage it, and make something called ketones, or you could feed your body. Of course, when you're feeding it, we want you to eat a high healthy diet and high organic foods, healthy proteins, nice fats, and things like that. But we also want to make sure you're identifying when that hunger starts to happen. So when we talk about doing a fast, again, anything under 300 calories, anything less than 15 grams of protein, what happens is our insulin growth factor, which is one of those biggest predictors for cancer. So if you look at the research behind breast cancer, that insulin-like growth factor is one marker that they really look for to see if there's something happening inside before you actually get a tumor marker. We also know that the normal sleep cycle actually metabolizes once you actually allow your body to rest. There's more nerves in your gut than in your spinal cord. So if you're eating 12 to 14 hours a day, we can't repair, we can't recycle, we can't get that proper sleep that we need, especially if you're eating like at 8 or 9 o'clock and then expecting your body to shut down and go to bed at 10. It's just not going to happen because it takes 4 hours for that process to happen. So when we look, I'm trying to run through my notes here. We look at the amazing things that happen. So what happens when you time restrict your food and eat very good in that time what you do eat? What we do is we start to see your circadian rhythm start to regulate. Circadian rhythm is what wakes us up in the morning, that's that cortisol, and puts us to bed at night. So if we do that and stop eating 4+ hours before bedtime, we have a much better chance at making our body's own melatonin. Yes, our body can make its own melatonin in the presence of darkness. It can make those other things that help us to sleep. We also know it helps control our appetite. We talked about hunger and that itch. The more you scratch and itch, if you've ever had chiggers or mosquito bites, it just keeps itching, or poison ivy. If you ignore it, it kind of goes down away. It kind of starts to subside. Lots and lots of clinical research information. I'll post those pictures and links down below that you can see that hunger, if the more you feed it, it goes up and up and up. But if you start to ignore it over 24, 48 hours, it actually starts to diminish. And you go back to that true cellular feeding, which is 3 meals a day. You eat, you let your body process, then digest a good 3 to 4 hours, and then you refeed again and let that process through. We also know, we talked about, if you're not feeding all day long, that your body can really start to have amazing focus, because all the energy that your body's using is not going into processing food, not going into digesting and breaking down fats, but goes into your mental focus. I think it was Aristotle that used to have his students actually fast for at least 12 hours before they came to class, because he wanted them to pay attention. And then what happens when you start figuring this out is you really start to trust your own body's instinct. Am I eating because I'm hungry? Or am I eating because I'm sad or lonely or angry or tired? Am I eating because I had too many carbohydrates, my blood sugar is cycling? Am I eating because my hormones are out of balance? Or am I truly eating to feed my body? We know there's a lot of money spent in cosmetics and anti-aging, and we all know we want to feel better, but the great thing is the science is out there. So what happens after 72 hours of having less than 300 calories and less than about 12 or 15 grams of protein, your body starts to stimulate new white blood cells. This is called autophagy. So what happens is your body says, you know what, I can really focus on my immune system. I'll get rid of those old kind of cluttered down, kind of not so healthy white blood cells, and now I can make some new ones because I'm giving our body what it needs. I can focus on that. And then at 4+ days to 5 days is really when our body starts to make new stem cells. And we start to talk about anti-aging, healing the body that's been through something very devastating, whether it's a horrible infection or a horrible car wreck and you broke a bunch of bones. We've got to give our body the nutrients to help recycle that. Or you've gone through extensive maybe steroid use or antibiotic use or chemotherapy, anything like that. We want our body to recycle and repair. It can be done under the right circumstances, but not if you're feeding 14 hours a day and not giving your body the good food so it can break it down and be its own pharmacy and make its own natural nutrients that it needs. So there's a lot of benefits to this. I know it can be pretty confusing. So the first thing is you really just start figuring out, when am I eating, when am I not eating? So when's my first meal and when's my last meal? So say that you wake up at 8 or wake up at 7 and you eat at 8 because you're on autopilot. That's the time you make your coffee, you eat. You're not hungry, but you're just eating. What happens is it's just like that car and the gasoline, like me driving to church. As I didn't need much gasoline and now it's overspilling out the side of the car. Well, now that you've eaten when you're not hungry, your body's going to store that for another day. You still had to use insulin to process it. You still had to use all the enzymes. And again, your body's like, okay, now I have this extra food. I wasn't hungry. Now I've got to try to figure out where to store it, right? It gets stored in the form of fat, but where to put it. Versus if you wait till your body is truly hungry, then you're like, you know, now I need some food. I'm going to have avocado. I'm going to have some salmon. I'm going to have some eggs and greens and bacon, things like that. When you can really focus on that, your body's going to be a much more efficient fat burner. So we talk about doing just some intermittent fast and some time restricted eating, you know, talking about doing the reboot. What that does is it really allows your body to upgrade your health. So that anti-aging, make some new white blood cells, really get some stuff cleaned out. Because if you're not eating that 12 hours a day or even 8 hours a day and you're doing things that are nutrient what do I say? They're maximally formulated to help your body clean it out. Because if you do a water only fast, yes, you're washing everything out, but you don't have soap in there. So think about that pan. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but if you have a pan you're trying to scrub, say you cooked eggs in it 4 days ago, water alone's not going to do it. You're going to have to use some muscle, some grit, some grub, some soap to get that off. That's what happens when we're doing the reboot. We're giving our body all those nutrients that it needs to replace what it needs to actually clean out that mitochondria, which is a cell. So clean out that stuff at the cellular level, talking about cellular detox, really scrubbing and cleaning that stuff out, and then giving our body the essential nutrients that it needs that could potentially be lost just through the normal diuretic process, normal going to the bathroom process, normal sweating process. We do lose some essential minerals that most people are depleted on because we're not eating them in our daily diet. So this is one of my favorite kind of graphs to show. So what happens is people talk a lot about leaky guts. Why would I ever want to not eat for several hours? Well, if you're eating food toxically, it's falling down. Any kind of nutrients will fall down in between the gut. So this is a healthy gut. This is a non-healthy gut. This is like a leaky gut, diverticulitis, things like that, because the toxins that we're eating slip and fall down in between there, and it creates gaps. Just like if you never brush your teeth and you would get sugar in between your teeth, say these are your teeth, and you'd have sugar and red dye and maybe it's a piece of meat, maybe a green bean, maybe a peanut. If you never brush your teeth, those start to create those gaps and actually eat that away. That's what happens with leaky gut, and then all those toxins get stored down in there. How do you get them cleaned out? How do you get that reversed? Well, you stop putting the stuff in there one thing, then you give it the proper nutrients, a proper soap, so to speak, to clean that out, and then collagen on the back end, because that will help repair that and actually put that back in there. Our intestine turns over, I think, 13 times a day. I'll look that stat up for you, but it turns over all the time. It's always debriefing and decleaning and debriefing. That's having bowel movements and things like that. So your body can heal from things like ulcers or diverticulitis or that leaky gut because we put all that stuff in there, but yet we never cleaned it out. Think of that villi in your stomach like your teeth that you haven't cleaned, or that carpet that you never cleaned, right? You deep clean that carpet to get the fibers and stuff broken apart, and then they click back together. Same thing happens in your gut. So when we do the 60-hour reboot in our office, and again, I'm just saying this is the last day that you can actually buy that for this month. We do offer it every month. Is what it does is it's the first time that your system really gets to have a reset, so to speak, like the first time you ever went to the dentist. Can you imagine being over 50 and never going to the dentist? You've never cleaned out your body. You've never given it a break and the proper nutrients to clean it. Think what that would look like. Well, the great thing is you can't grow new teeth, but you can grow new villi. Your stomach can turn over, which is amazing. So when we talk about this worry-free 60-hour keto cleanse, we have an amazing coaching and supporting group, but I want to give you a little bit more science behind that and really some other great information to read. I don't have it here, but it's called The Fasting. It's by Dr. Jason Fung. He wrote the Obesity Code, and I think it's just called Fasting. I'm sorry, I lost the name of the book for a minute, but also the Longevity Diet from Dr. Victor Luongo. They have what's called the Fasting Mimicking Diet, which is a 5-day program. Now, our reboot is only 60 hours, but again, think of that about resetting your body, giving it a time where it's not having to break down the food. It's getting right what it needs at the cellular level. It's getting the energy it needs. You're getting the herbal blends for your body to rest and restore, to repair that growth hormone and to repair that cortisol and recycle that so your body gets that true state of sleep. And then again, on the back end during the day, you're getting all those great nutrients from different broth and pure exogenous ketones. So hopefully that helped bring a little clarity instead of, I just supposed to drink this and not do what. That's really the reasoning behind it. It allows your body to have the first time ever to really optimize and to upgrade your health. Yes, you can do this every month, just like if you go to the dentist and you hadn't been for years and your teeth are really bad, if you go back maybe every 3 months or 2 months instead of every 6 months, you're more likely to have much healthier gingiva or the tissue around your teeth. The same thing happens in your gut. So we like you to do a 60-hour reboot to allow your body to rejuvenate, to reset, and then through the next period, month to month, because I do recommend it every month, then your body optimizes. Then you're more likely, because it resets your sugar cravings. So when you reset your sugar cravings and you reset some of those other things we talked about, insulin, you're less likely to overeat in between those other avenues. Just like the moon rotates or turns over every 28 days, women's cycle every 28 days, our liver turns over every 21 to 28 days. We're exposed to stuff. If you had a candle burning, that red stuff goes away, like the candle's all gone. Where'd that red stuff go? From the candle. Like the smell's not here anymore, it stopped burning. You breathed that in, your skin soaked that in. How in the heck do you get that out? It's by doing a very simple 60-hour reboot, by doing some of these very simple strategies that we're talking about today. So the exciting thing is there's so much information out there. There's so much science behind it out there. I was going to pull a bunch of graphs up, but I'm deciding that I'm going to do it. So they talk about when you allow your body to rest and reset, the science behind that. They're actually showing you this is actually Dr. Luongo's work. He's at the Anti-Aging Clinic, Longevity Clinic in California. They're going to show effects of your blood pressure. They're going to show an effect of your abdominal fat, your waist circumference, your lean body mass, your growth factor 1, systolic, diastolic, cholesterol, C-reactive, stem cells. They've got all the amazing information documentation there. Now in our office, we've had a few hundred people participate where we actually do some metabolic testing. We check your age, we check your body fat, your visceral fat, and then and your bone mass, and then post reboot, we recheck and compare those. So what we have found after doing this several months with hundreds of patients, we haven't done thousands yet, but that's next to go. We see that what happens in that time is your body loses that unwanted visceral fat, that unwanted abdominal fat, and you actually have a chance of increasing your lean muscle mass, because once your body gets in that true state of ketosis, so ketogenesis, when your body's breaking down the fat, it actually turns on some other things. We're going to talk about mTOR next time, but turns on some other things that actually protect your lean muscle mass. So when you're in this state, your body again is focusing on your brain, focusing on your heart, focusing on your body at the cellular level, getting all that junk cleaned out, and then regenerating and rejuvenating, making new stuff for your body to actually function at that next higher level. And I really think, when I talk to people, all I want to do is just feel better. And you deserve to feel better. And who's in charge of that? It's you. Who's in charge of how much water you drink? You. Who's in charge of what you put in here? You. And so I'm not saying but oftentimes people are like, well, they made me eat it. I was in this social setting. You actually can do that. And you actually, sometimes I think the mindset is we don't think we deserve to be the best version of ourselves, and you absolutely do. So define that why. Why do I want to feel better? Is it for my grandkids? Is it for myself? Is it for my spouse? Is it so I can work at the highest level every day, so I can contribute more to the universe, so I can give back more? Well, if you're not the best version of yourself, it's really hard to meet those goals that you may have. And it can be very simply done really with just doing some small tactics during the day. So if you want more information about the reboot, please just private message me. I'll get you that information. And if you want to participate in any metabolic testing in our office, let me know, because we also do that as well here in Overland Park, Kansas. It's too hard to do that remotely, but you can participate in the reboot from wherever you are, whether you're in Asia or whether you're, actually I don't think it's in Asia, Canada or the US. We really just want you to be the best version of yourself, and you all deserve that. But again, when you start to say, who's responsible for exercise? Who's responsible for putting me to sleep? Being a mom of 4 kids, we even tell stories that we had a couple kiddos that just love to read books. We go take the light bulbs out because we'd find them reading past 9 or 10, but the light, is not good for their brain to get a good sleep. So if you're that person who's up reading late at night, you're on the Kindle, you're watching TV, know that you're in charge of that. You can click that remote off, you can put your phone on silent, and you can also get all your water in. So some of it's just really easy strategy steps. So if this is not the right time, like I don't really feel like I can do this 60-hour reboot, that's okay. Get your body ready for next month, which means get yourself exercising every day. Get your body sweating a little bit every day. Get the water in every day. Practice on getting to bed. We call them just best lifetime practices, is getting your body to bed on time. Adults need 7, no more than 9 hours of sleep every single night. I know as parents, we really focus on getting our kiddos to bed. We forget to put ourselves to bed. So really focus on that throughout the next month. I am going to be coming on live tomorrow with Dr. Natalie Beauchamp, who just published her book. It was the #1 bestseller on Amazon in Canada and the US, which is Hack Your Health. 10 a.m. Central Standard Time here on this Facebook channel. I don't know, they're figuring out how to do it, stream it from her podcast to my Facebook, but we're hopefully going to do that. Yes, Kelly, we actually can do that. If you're in the Kansas City area, we can do that through our office. Absolutely super excited to send you that information. And just know that, we have an amazing support group, whether you're a patient of ours, whether you're in our community, whether you participate in low carb keto KC, it's all about just giving you the support, information, and guidance so you can actually optimize your health. And we talk about optimizing your health. It's not going from 0 to 100% overnight. It's about 2 to 3 degree shift. Everybody hear that? It's about being a little bit better. So 2 or 3 degree shift, a little bit better today than you were yesterday. Water is the easiest thing to do, right? It's free unless you buy bottled water, and everybody can drink it. The same with going to bed on time. Get the room cleared out, get the TV out, put the computer down, get that to bed, because we know when you sleep soundly, you're going to be twice as productive the next day. So if you're trying to get that last minute work down, know that if you actually close it down, put it down, and you get a proper night's sleep, you're going to be much more productive the next day. So we truly believe that each and every one of you deserve to be the best version of yourself. We truly believe that you can do anything that you set your mind to it, which is living a new lifestyle, which is being a little healthier today. I had a lady in today. She's over 60 years old. We've been working for a year with her, and she is actually at her optimal percentage of body fat. She actually is anti-age over 20 years. In the last, probably the last year, really, just doing the right metabolics with her, getting her off her HRT or hormone replacement. You don't need that when you're in the 60s. And really just teaching her how to eat, and then identify when you're hungry, and then just saying, you know what, I want to celebrate with my family. I want to have the pie, not the stuffing and the pie and the bread and the rolls and that. But yes, you can absolutely have that pleasure. Earn it, make a little sacrifice 2 or 3 days before, a little bit of an exercise, or once you eat that pie, make it keto if you can, or low carb, clean friendly, and then do some physical activity. So enjoy the day, that you don't eat and overeat. We'll talk more about this as we get closer to Thanksgiving. But I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Again, a ton of resources I'll post down below, because we had just amazing speakers. What we're doing when you talk about healthcare of the future, it's doing things like this. It's actually allowing your body to rest and rejuvenate and repair. It's doing things like this reboot, which is an amazing system. The fasting mimicking diet as a 5-day program. You actually they have food designed over a 5-day. It's not that you don't eat, but it's called the fasting mimicking, because it mimics the same thing cellular that your body does, and it's a 5-day program. So an amazing program. I have done it myself. I always want to check things out myself before I recommend to someone, because not everyone can do a straight fast. Not everyone's body can do it mentally, physically, and just stress-wise. But the fasting mimicking diet rotates in between 400 to 1,000 calories, so that's why the word mimicking's in there. But again, the science is behind it. They've done thousands of trial studies. They've published their studies that they talk about with a reboot. We are here and ready to go. We have all the amazing ingredients in it to help your body rest and rejuvenate. It is not a fast. And if you're talking about the fasting word, because we are putting calories in your body, you're getting a small amount of protein that your body needs. You're getting the nutrients that you need at that cellular level. And again, those other adjunctive things in there are like soap to help clean out that cellular debris. Again, think of those teeth, think of your gut and villi the same way in those cells. You want to clean those out so they get nice and tight. They protect your body. That's what happens when they actually get the gaps get out and the junk gets out as they start protecting your body. And then that functions at a higher level. Just think if you had again, lots of examples, but if you had we're in Kansas, let's just talk about it. If you had a tractor and you're pulling a wagon full of hay and you had way too much hay on it, it's pulling the tractor down. It's not going to be able to go where it needs to go, the rate that it needs to go. The same thing happens to your metabolism. Your thyroid, which is the ignition for your body, the adrenals, which are the, engine for your body is your adrenal glands. I'm sorry, I've got a patient coming, so I'm trying to be quick, but just think about that. When we get our body full of toxins, it slows down. It doesn't function at the speed and rate that you want to. So then you have brain fog. You forget where you parked your car when you went to the grocery store. You forgot what you were going to say. You forgot something at work. You forgot something, your kids' soccer cleats at home. Those things start to happen when your body doesn't have enough time to focus, not getting enough oxygen to your brain, not getting enough time for your fight or flight to actually calm down. So that parasympathetic system we talk about, which is calming the brain down so you can increase focus. Your body can focus on lowering your heart rate and your blood pressure and getting to sleep. There's so many reasons why people don't sleep or can't get to sleep. And that's really sad because sleep is our secret weapon for rest and rejuvenation and recycling and hormone optimization. So thank you guys for joining me here today. Don't forget, you can share this. Please make sure you share from my page, which would be amazing. And this is meant for everyone to go over to my blog, Ask Dr. Heather. Thousands of recipes, lots of other information there. Also on my YouTube channel, you can subscribe to that. So I take my Facebook Lives here and post it into the YouTube. And so it just helps keep them categorized. I've got a lot of amazing bone broth recipes over there. You can join or make yourself. If you have a great recipe, please share it with all of us. This is all about sharing and caring and collaboration as a community, because that's what we need to do to help make ourselves healthier at the local level and at the national level and global level. So I don't know why I said that, but I did. So anyway, you guys can jump over like Low Carb Keto KC. There's some amazing low carb keto friendly local people making some amazing recipes and foods, and really a lot of education coming through that page from amazing researchers around the U.S. So hopefully we can give you some great insight there. And thank you, Teresa. Very, very kind. Thanks for the hearts. Thanks for that. I'm going to stop reading the comments. I've got patients now, so I'll come back later and I'll check questions this afternoon if you have them. And let me know, again, if you want to participate in our 60-hour keto reboot, which begins November 18th and ends before Thanksgiving. So it sets your body, your metabolism, your blood sugar, insulin right at the proper level so you can enjoy and have an amazing holiday with tons of energy. If you're a U.S. citizen participating in that, I need to look up the Canadian Thanksgiving because I think it's a different day or two. But thanks for joining me here, guys, and I will see you later. Have a great day.